Finding office chairs that don't suck under $150 is extremely challenging. With a shoestring budget, it's hard to find a decent chair with good support. I've reviewed hundreds of office chairs, and the best that I've found to date is the Tacova, but it comes with some glaring weaknesses. The Protoarc has the potential to be my best find yet for anyone searching under $200. Let's jump into it. The first place we have to look at a sub $200 chair is definitely going to be in the build. The Protoarc utilizes one of the same tricks that many of the lower cost products that are sub $200 do, by using a multi-piece 5-star base that requires assembly. Now, I found that the paint finish on the base actually looked quite nice, and the shape of the 5-star base actually kind of hid the fact that it's really a multi-piece structure. Overall, I think it looks nicer than most of those similar types of bases, but it definitely isn't as nice and probably isn't quite as strong as what you'd find from something like the Atlas chair from Colony. Moving up the backrest, the molds for the plastic components are actually really well done. You don't see a lot of imperfections in the actual plastics, which would normally be found in cheaper molds, which is a common theme at this price point. Same is definitely true as you kind of moved up into the headrest and all the components there. Still having a hard time picking out the best chair for you? Check out our office chair comfort guide linked in the description to help you narrow your search. When you're sub $200, the amount of adjustments and the range that each adjustment offers is generally less than more expensive alternatives. The Protoarc has a nice range of adjustments for the price, but it definitely doesn't offer everything. Seat height adjustment is a standard adjustment on most chairs. The Protoarc has about 4 inches of range here, from 17 inches all the way up to 21. The arm adjustments on this model, though, are somewhat basic with only height adjustment. Even so, the size of the arm pads is much wider at 4¼ inches and really allows you to get good support for a narrow body type. I would have liked to have seen some more pivot here for typing, but unfortunately they didn't offer that option. The lumbar height and depth adjustment is actually very robust for the Protoarc. The lumbar pad itself moves about 2 inches up and down, but it's actually 5 inches tall, the lumbar itself, so it has really nice coverage. The depth adjustment on the lumbar is significant, so if you like a lot or just a little lower support, you can definitely find a sweet spot here. The headrest on this chair is without question the best that I've seen on a chair that's this inexpensive. It has a massive range of adjustment and also features depth and pivot adjustment for fine tuning. Last, there's also seat depth adjustment for shorter or longer legs. This is nice to see at this price point and definitely not common. There's also a 4-position tilt lock that offers a really deep recline. Comfort is likely the most important part of a chair for so many of us, so we focus on each area of the actual chair, starting with the seat first. Finding a comfortable seat is definitely a personal preference, but I always try my best to help you kind of understand how soft or firm a seat is to help meet your Goldilocks needs. First, the seat overall has good softness to it, but it isn't so soft that you sink to the bottom. I'd say it's probably about a 6.5 out of 10 for softness. Now, overall, the seat does feel like it's good quality for this price point. I haven't actually taken the seat apart because I want to continue using it, so I can't tell you for sure, but it definitely has a good noticeable bounce back to it. Now, I've been sitting in the chair for about 4 weeks, and it hasn't really felt like it's broken down or changed at all. As mentioned in the adjustments section, the arms on the Protoarc don't offer a ton of adjustments. The size of the arm pads helps solve some of those shortcomings with the lack of pivot, depth, and width adjustment though. Part of being comfortable also requires the ability to fit you to the arms. Because the pads are nice and wide, I'm able to get good support using them with my frame. Typically, I've found cheap chairs tend to be a little bit too wide for good support for me in particular, so I've really enjoyed this part of the chair. The arm pads themselves are soft, definitely for a chair under that $200 price range. Overall, I'd say they're about a 5 out of 10, but most arm pads in this price range feel like concrete, so this is a huge win. Backrest comfort is a combination of how the upholstery feels, the firmness of the backrest is, and how good the lower support overall is, if it has any at all. Now, the Protoarc again does a really good job here overall. I found that the mesh on the backrest has a good softness to the material used. A lot of the lower cost chairs typically kind of feel cheap and coarse here. When you compare the mesh to that of the Tacova, you can definitely see and hear the difference in the materials used. There's also a good amount of suspension in the mesh overall as well. It didn't feel loose, but it wasn't so firm that you couldn't sink into it with your back. The lumbar pad includes a ton of depth adjustment and also has about 2 inches of height adjustment. Now, when you pair that with the mesh, it does a good job offering a wide range of support for your lower back. I also noticed that the padding on the lumbar support system is nice and soft as well. If you're like most of our viewers, you're spending a ton of time in your chair working and then gaming or watching content on your PC after you're done working. This likely means you're in a more relaxed position than if you're, say, upright tasking, and a headrest is more than just a want, it's required. Comparing the Protoarc to the Tacova, the headrest is an absolute game changer here. Now, the headrest on the Tacova is definitely okay for the price, but it doesn't have much of an adjustment range and can easily pull out of the backrest if you make height adjustments while you're seated in the chair. The Protoarc, on the other hand, has a nice wide headrest, and honestly, I've never had an issue where I felt that hard plastic hitting around the edges of its frame. The wide height adjustment range provides good support upright or reclined. The same is said for that depth and pivot adjustment. There's so much range here that you can easily find a comfortable spot for any position. Now, the closest thing that I've actually found from an adjustment range is the Colony Atlas. And again, to be honest here, I think the Protoarc headrest itself is just more comfortable overall because of its size. Bottom line, if you're looking for an inexpensive chair under $200, the Protoarc is definitely the best that I've tested to date. I've dropped a link in the description if you want to check it out on Amazon.